It's been about 5 years since I started NihongoGamer and I've only finally become a gamer. So what have I been up until now? We're gonna be talking about all that and more, but first, coffee. Alright, what was today's coffee again? I think it's Tanzania. Let's have a quick look. Uh-oh, we've lost the label. Okay, well I'm pretty sure it's Tanzania Asante. Just have a quick look. I think my roaster gave me a slightly higher roast than usual. It looks oilier than usual. Maybe that's just the variety of the beans, but it tends to be just the way they roast it that it ends up looking like a slightly different sheen. So what do I mean when I say that I've only finally become a gamer and it's been 5 years? It's actually only been about 4.5 years since I started NihongoGamer, the channel. But what actually is NihongoGamer? And if NihongoGamer is not a gamer, then what is it? Or what is he? Or what is NihongoGamer? Well, actually, and I've mentioned this in various videos before, here and there, and I've mentioned it also in streams and live streams and that sort of thing, but NihongoGamer actually wasn't a YouTube channel to start with. It was actually a website, and the whole idea behind the website was going to be that I was going to make the website, but I was actually going to get other people to write the articles for me, and it was always going to be about which were the best video games for learning Japanese. But let's grind! As you know, that idea disappeared actually, and actually it's not that it's completely disappeared. I still focus mostly, if possible, on Japanese games, mostly because I'm living in Japan and I'm surrounded by Japanese games. But the focus on learning Japanese through games turned out to be such a narrow audience. And actually, the content that I was able to make managed to branch out way beyond that small focus, that in the end, I didn't really have time to focus on the learning Japanese part. And also, I was working in Japan and just making lots of friends in Japan. And as a result, I was learning a lot more Japanese through just speaking to people at work, through friends, through hanging out at, sports clubs, whatever it was I was doing. From watching anime, from watching TV dramas. But the thing is with like anime and TV dramas, you can't really make videos about them because once the anime or the TV drama is in your video, then there's copyright issues and all of that sort of thing. And so actually NihongoGamer wasn't supposed to be a video gaming channel. It was supposed to be a website where people could basically create spreadsheets and upload their dictionary lists, because I use a list on my iPhone. I don't know if I've got the app up here. So this is the Midori app that I use, and for example I had this playlist like Persona 5 or stuff like that, and for every different video game I had a different playlist, and ideally what was going to happen was that I would learn all these new vocabulary words through video games, create Excel spreadsheets, because you can output them as in a spreadsheet, so that I could share common lists that you could download into your favorite app and create flashcards and learn Japanese words based on certain games. And Monster Hunter used certain games like, shushu for like gathering, but also there were words like, in RPGs, things like kogeki, which means attack, and then there was other games like, the more story-based games where they were just learning words like friendship, like yujo or tomodachi for a friend, stuff like that. What I really wanted people to know was that I was learning most of my words by remembering certain contexts. And so it wasn't really that video games are good for learning Japanese, it was that in a certain context, like a friendship, like a making friends game, or an RPG, or in a fighting game, you remember those contexts, and that helps you remember the game, especially a bit like how memorize, that you learn through memes, essentially the like little memes in your mind. And so that was the idea, but it turned out that one, I couldn't get any of my friends to actually write articles for me because they were all kind of lazy. They're like, oh, I wrote that one article and it got about 15 views on the website. I don't even have the domain anymore. I think I have the domain, but I don't have the website anymore. And then there was like one which happened to do really well. It was talking about how to learn Japanese through Chrono Trigger by running the emulator and a ROM, and also having like an Internet Explorer plugin, no, not Explorer, a Google Chrome plugin for translation, and you'd like go through the translation of the script while playing the game. But that was about the time that I was really getting into watching YouTube. I was watching other people who were making like PlayStation videos, PlayStation Vita videos, people who were making Wacom tablet videos, people who were making guitar videos, and I was like, whoa, these people I can trust. I felt like because you see their faces and they're talking about certain things, you can actually listen to what they say and go, oh, okay, no, I kind of believe it, as opposed to when you read a website and sometimes you're like, who's actually writing these articles? Let's aim it down here. Oh, hang on a second. Oh dear. Put this on here. So to cut an extremely long story short, I was really getting into YouTube. I was running this website, and I was having trouble getting people to write for the website. I was having trouble getting people to read the website. In general, it just wasn't working, and I thought, hey, maybe if I made videos, I could get people to actually read this garbage. Essentially, it was content about learning Japanese through playing video games. It's such a niche idea, and there's so few people who would ever want to do it, that maybe if they were videos, I could get people to watch them. And so the original first videos that I made for the channel had, they were just tests, really. They weren't anything to do with learning Japanese. But the way I started was, making unboxings. I bought a PlayStation Vita. I happened to be drawing a lot of manga at the time, and so as like a gift to myself, I actually bought myself that Vita, unboxed it, and then I think I bought a Wacom tablet, which I think I did the Wacom tablet on a completely different channel as a test. I'd actually owned a YouTube channel before in the past, but I didn't know how to be a YouTuber. And so for the first year, I would do all these unboxings and things for YouTube. I was buying video games, and essentially the goal was still the same for me. It was to learn Japanese while playing video games, and not just because I like video games. And what the point I'm trying to get to is that I think that for this whole time, I never actually became, or at the start, wasn't ever actually a gamer. And the reason I think that is because I actually talk to people who do consider themselves gamers, and I think the way that they think about video games and approach the subject in general is very different to mine, in that, yes, games are in my life, and I'm quite nostalgic for them because I played them as a kid. Now here's the thing, I don't think I ever wanted to just like sit in my room and play video games by myself. Essentially, for me, video games was always something I did with my brother, right? So we had a basement in our house, and we had all of our toys there, but after we kind of graduated away from toys, and that's not to say that you have to stop playing with toys, it's just after we kind of had our fill of plastic toys, when we moved on to Super Nintendo, which we weren't even supposed to have. Our aunt bought it against our parents' actual will. My parents didn't want us to have games consoles, but my aunt came in and bought us a Super Nintendo, and that was the start of the slippery slope into becoming gamers. But it wouldn't take until many years later when I would finally be in Japan running a video games channel. And, 4 years would go by before I actually became what I think I am today, which is more of a gamer than I was back then. And I think it's because of the video that I made. It was actually a coffee video, when I discovered that through the Nintendo Switch, and through the Nintendo Switch moving on to Puyo Puyo Tetris, and moving on from Puyo Puyo Tetris to Street Fighter 2, Ultra Street Fighter 2, and then eventually finally moving on to games now like, Street Fighter 5 and BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, which are the ones that I mainly play right now. I think now I have finally become a gamer, and it's in my heart where I feel it, and I can kind of explain it to you now how and why I think that has changed. Well, the mic's like a million miles away now. Tanzania Asante. If I'm not mistaken, you were actually the first coffee to ever grace the NihongoGamer channel. I remember because there was a comment where someone actually translated Asante, a person from Tanzania. That was very exciting. Let's see if I'm going to watch the video after this and find out whether it tastes the same. I smell nothing. It tastes pixelated, like a messy JPEG, and wood. It tastes a bit like wood. I'm having a real identity crisis. I don't know whether to have my hair flick this direction or have it flick this direction. So there's a conversation that I have frequently with my friends who are gamers and friends who are not gamers. It often comes to this point where I kind of talk to them and I'm like, so when you're like in your free time, do you actually like playing games? Like to just like sit down and just play games? Is that's what you would rather do? They're like, yeah. Every time I get home, I have like game time. I have time set aside for playing games. I love trying out all sorts of different games, and it feels really good to complete them. And for me, I'm always like, I like buying games. I don't feel like for the past 4 years I've been into games because I want to play them and spend all my free time playing them. I feel like for the first couple of years it was just that every time I learned more about Japanese, I was like, oh wow, I'm understanding more and more of the storyline in this game because I actually speak a bit of Japanese now. And then for, you know, the past couple of years, maybe, you know, 2015 and 2016, now that the channel is getting bigger, I have more funds to actually buy lots of different games so I can try out a huge variety of them. And that's what it was for me. It was just, oh cool, an RPG made in a Japanese way, and oh cool, an RPG made in a more Western way, and oh cool, this fighting game's got this type of character, and this fighting game's got that type of character. It was really about the variety for me. It's just, I just like to try a huge variety of things, but I wouldn't actually say that I like playing, or at the time I wouldn't say that I like playing those games. It's only been more recently that after I got into Street Fighter V, and I was like, hang on a minute, I never get better at this game. It's only, and I always have excuses. I'd be like, well, it's because I don't actually have time to play them all the time. You know, I can buy the game, I can play it a bit, but then I have to move on, I have to unbox something else for the channel. But then I think last year, after I loaded it on my Mobile Studio Pro and I made that video game. I made that video. It was called Playing Competitive Fighting Games on a Graphics Tablet. It was after that, you know, because that was my first experience going online. Then I was like, competition? Being good at a video game? And good as in able to win matches? You know, you can go on a game, be good and still not lose. But when I say good, I mean like actually win matches. And so I tried, right? I looked up the tutorials on YouTube. I spent at least half an hour to an hour an evening like in training mode playing the game, going online, trying it. I ended up having brain surgery. Who knows if maybe it's related to Street Fighter? Let's hope it's not. It was around that's when the transformation happened. It was when I was discovering the joy of being a gamer as opposed to just being a consumer. And I don't think that one is better than the other. Basically, I'll always be a consumer, but I think like I've finally become a consumer that actually plays my games now. And so it's evolved to the point where, okay, so we've got Street Fighter V, which I don't play as much anymore, but then Dragon Ball came out, I bought Tekken as well. It's mostly been fighting games for me. Who knows if this is just a phase? Hopefully it's not. Hopefully I'll be in it for the long haul, but it was fighting games that got me into like, oh, I actually enjoy competing and getting better at something and becoming proficient at something, which is what I was trying to explain in a previous While I'm Making Coffee video. But I think it's not until recently that I would actually say that if I had free time, I would actually want to sit down and get further in a game. So recently, for example, like at Christmas, my brother got me on the Steam sale, he got me Final Fantasy X, right? Final Fantasy X is a game I haven't actually completed ever in my life. It never really occurred to me that I should bother, right? I bought it on the PS2 at the time, and I was like, oh, what a technical marvel. It's such a beautiful looking game. But it didn't actually occur to me that I should finish it, and my brother would always say to me, it's like, Final Fantasy X is one of the games that you really need to complete. He's like, you're seriously, like, you would love it so much. I know that you would love it if you would just go and complete the game. And so he bought it for me. I started it, and I've been playing it in little bits every now and then, going through the story, and it's like, whoa, what is this desire to want to move forward in this game? It's something that hasn't happened since Final Fantasy VII. You know what it was? It was after Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII just didn't meet my expectations for an RPG. Now the sword is also a gun. It's a gun sword. And then FF9, it was like, okay, all the characters are small again. FF10, it was like, okay, now the main character is a boy, but he's really like a pretty boy. And I was like, ugh, what is this? And I was like, what is going on? And it just got further and further and further away from what I had remembered enjoying, and I just didn't care to get any further in these games. And so now, thanks to fighting games, it's a very roundabout way of saying it, but thanks to finding how, you know, good it feels to kind of progress in a video game, and it's easier for me to do it in fighting games because, you know, you can kind of progress quite quickly if you learn a certain trick. It's like, oh, people don't know how to block in that situation. Okay, now I feel like I'm much better. As opposed to like an RPG, you actually have to spend like 30 hours to get to that point. With fighting games, it's more like you just need to find the right tricks and talk to the right people, you know, and then you can kind of skip a few paces. So it's quite similar to what I was saying before in that, you know, Street Fighter really got me back into gaming. I think definitely live streaming has helped a lot because now I'm on Twitch as well. Who knows, I might start doing live streaming on YouTube as well. I don't really know what the best place to live stream is. I just figured Twitch was a cool place to try it, so I'm trying the live stream thing on Twitch. So do click on the link and join us on Twitch if you're interested in watching a live stream that I do. But through playing games on Twitch, I feel like, wow, I'm playing games because I like to play games. I'm not playing games because I want to make a video and show the world something that they don't have access to. That's not like the point. The point is I have to play the game and enjoy it. And I always enjoyed them before, but for a different reason. The reason was to experience a large number of games. Now the reason is to just enjoy the game. Enjoy the game, and if you don't enjoy the game, it's like really obvious, right? You're on a stream, people can tell that you're not enjoying the game. But right now I'm like really enjoying it, and I really think it really helps to focus on one particular title, or at least one particular genre, and I think that's really working for me. And so it's taken 5 years, because before the video channel started, before the YouTube channel started, it was like 6 months to a year of actual website stuff. So it's like it's actually 5.5 years really since the website began, that I have finally in 2018, I would say, become a gamer. I want to go home after work and I want to spend time playing games, not just to make videos. I feel like I know that because even when I turn the live stream off, I turn the camera off and then I go and I continue playing the game, Like I move away from the PlayStation version, I pick up the Switch version, lie down in bed and I'm still playing the game. Before it was always, I wish I had free time so I could draw. I wanted to draw and I wanted to write music. And when I made content because I like to make things as well, when I wanted to make content, games was how I did that. Using video games, I was able to create videos, which was what I enjoyed. And video games were something that I liked, but I wasn't a gamer doing it. Ugh, I'm just saying the same thing over and over and over again, as you know. But that's how these coffee videos go. Anyway, this is supposed to be like a break time show. I do this when I've got spare time to make a video in between projects. So I've got to go, but I hope you've enjoyed this NihongoGamer video, this while we're drinking coffee, a quick historical tour of how we became NihongoGamer, because really it was just Nihongo, and I think it's only really been 2018 that I think I've finally become a NihongoGamer, and I'm really excited about it because now I'm like looking at all the games in my Steam library that I bought but didn't play, and I'm like, oh, I've got all these games that I can enjoy. Before it was like, I've got all these games I can try once and make videos about, but now it's like, all these titles I can go and enjoy. I'm so excited about it. Don't forget to comment, subscribe, share links and all that great stuff, and definitely do tune into the Twitch stream. I'll put the link in the description. It's supposedly every week, but essentially it's actually been kind of every day because I just feel like, hey, if I'm gonna play video games, I may as well play it with my friends, and when I go on the stream, all my friends are there. It's really great, and I highly want to thanks a lot to everyone who has already been joining in the streams, donating, following, and you can't subscribe yet because I'm not a Twitch partner, but who knows, that's all in the future. I'll see you in the next NihongoGamer video.